Mushy mushy, and welcome to the Satirical News. First, to AFL, and league boss Andrew Demetriou has been finalising details for the grand final replay this Saturday. The 48-pack of Krispy Kreme donuts he had been planning to eat this Saturday will now be digested on Sunday. Never before seen photos of Marilyn Monroe as a 27-year-old have been released in a new book. Incredibly, the photos show Monroe with blonde hair. Historians had hoped for red. Police have identified the remains of a missing man in the Bahamas after finding his remains in the belly of a shark. Police have also identified the remains of a missing shark found inside the belly of a whale. And in breaking news, police have identified the remains of a missing whale found inside the belly of a Japanese food connoisseur. Curious tourists are paying $170 a day to visit Chernobyl, nearly a quarter of a century after a reactor exploded there. Visitors have questioned the price, claiming it's a bit steep. However, Tourism Chernobyl said you pay for what you get, which they explained was 3 eyes, 7 ears and goat's horns. Nah. To politics, and Barack Obama will be making his twice-postponed trip to Indonesia in November, but the Australian leg of the trip has been cancelled. The trip would have been postponed a third time, but he didn't have time for that either. There is a push at federal government level for people with bad hairstyles to be prevented from appearing in public. In future, all people with bad hairstyles will have to audition before Kyle Sandilands in order to have their performance approved. In a public address today, Sandilands said this will not be a case of the pot calling the kettle black, as most of his hair was on his chin, and this doesn't count. To entertainment news, and Elmo has been banned from Sesame Street after showing too much cleavage. This came after a number of complaints were made by disturbed parents after Elmo appeared alongside Katy Perry in a recent episode. However, some have argued that a bit of cleavage on Elmo is nothing when you have Katy Perry standing there opposite, wearing nothing at all. Closer to home, and a Broadmeadows resident was caught illegally chopping down a mature gum tree in their own backyard. The neighbour who witnessed the event alerted the council, then chained herself to the stump in protest. To the stock market, and 78 green lights were recorded at the intersection of Springvale and Whitehorse Roads this week, down 9 green lights from last week. Meanwhile, yellow lights remain neither here nor there, a position they have been in for most of the year, and the year before that, and the year before that. Intimidating the competition are red lights, who are making their presence felt, sitting pretty on 78 flashes at the Springvale-Whitehorse Road intersection. Pessimistic motorists are optimistic that number may rise. And some bad news for people who love looking at the moon. The sun has risen again. In sport, James Hird has declared he wants to coach Essendon next year after Matthew Knights had his coaching contract cut short. "I can double as club captain," said Hird. Hundreds of extra cleaners have been hired by the Indian government just prior to the start of the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. While cleaning the athletes' village will be the priority, the new cleaners will also be expected to participate in the men's hammer throw, the women's long jump, and commentate the men's marathon, because nobody's going to turn up for that. To the weather now, and all the leaves are brown and the sky is grey. California dreaming on a Melbourne spring day is not a good idea because you'll probably get wet. This has been the Satirical News for the 29th of September 2010.